Oh god, am I getting the sun in my face? You're with Julian on the Brown Note and a review of Jessy Lanza's latest album, Love Hallucination. And she's a Canadian from Ontario. And I featured on my radio show all of her albums, so Pull My Hair Back in 2013. My favourite is still Oh No in 2016, and actually the title track of that is probably my favourite individual track. All the Time came out in 2020, and I didn't get a DJ Kicks album, but obviously that might not be entirely her material. So this is the fourth full-length studio album from Jessy, and I've always really liked her style. The mixture of her at times very cute cooing vocals and expert drum programming and synths I've always really liked. So I'm just doing a few quick reviews to get clear the decks. There's so many albums out at the moment, it's insane. Don't Leave Me Now, the opener, is I think the best track on the album. Got a bit of a driving tech house thing going and a strong pop vocal and very easy and light, but it's got a sense of urgency, and I'd apply that to Midnight Ontario and Limbo, the opening three tracks. I was going to say this about another artist soon, but this time around I think Jessy Lanza almost sounds like the extrovert older sister of Pink Pantheress. She definitely sort of deals in sort of post-1990 electronic music drum programming and tropes and synth patterns quite a lot. Even actually on Oh No, I've thought of New Order around Power, Corruption and Liars that really reminded me of that, which is one of the reasons why I liked it. Very strong pop hooks, usually really short songs, like sub 3.5 minute songs, and a really easygoing vibe. And then there's this other side to her, which is probably Casino Niagara, Don't Cry on My Pillow, the next couple of tracks, which is a little bit more akin to something like FKA Twigs and a little bit more R&B soul, in a fragmented, abstracted sort of way. And I like that side of her less. Not that it isn't good and easy to listen to, it's just I prefer her more driving up tempo stuff. I'm trying to avoid this incredible sun that's blaring through. And I think that's the story of this album, and maybe the last album to a degree as well. I did find Big Pink Rose quite funny a couple of times, and on this track it made me think of 1980s Prince, sort of around the Purple Rain era, and the slower tracks, not the sort of big tracks on that album, but for the drum programming and the synth programming and the overall vibe and use of bass, kind of got a Princey vibe about it. I thought Drive, the near instrumental, was a welcomely more expansive track, a bit moodier. I didn't review everything on here. I Hate Myself was quite an interesting track, virtually a mantra repeating that all the way through, and it seems to be quite pointedly meant as well. Sounded a bit like The Beloved, I thought. The darkest song on there. So it's another fine album, but it's again, I find myself really erring towards loving the opening few tracks that were skittish and had more sort of pronounced upbeat drum programming and vocal hooks, and a little bit less so of the sort of driftier FKA Twigs sort of neo-soul music. And a lot of the sonic tricks that she's done have been used across the albums. It's all very charming, is a bit in pocket, like the moves here are not distinct particularly from the other albums. But she's great when it comes to drum programming and synth programming, and for some reason her voice is really appealing, very cute for some reason, and effervescent and really good pop hooks on the better tracks on here. So Jessy Lanza and Love Hallucination, a 7 out of 10.